When the mention of Star Wars Clone Commandos come up, the typical person tends to think about squads such as the Bad Batch or Delta Squad. But what if I told you that they're just some of the many elite commando squads in the Republic's arsenal? From orbital drop specialists to urban warfare experts, today we're diving deep into every known Clone Commando squad in the Star Wars universe and what makes them stand out from the rest. For the purposes of this video, both Canon and Legends information will be used. Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch. The specialty of this Clone Commando force is through genetically enhanced mutations. Each clone has unique skills. Hunter tracks like no other, where Wrecker's strength is unmatched. Tech is a slicing wizard, Crosshair uses a one-shot, one-kill combo strategy, and Echo, the newest member, brings advanced cyberware integration. The armor used by this specific squad is your typical Katarn class armor, customized and modified to fit the variations of body types of each individual clone in the group. Painted black and red with skull insignias, heavy plating, and unique gear per member, along with variations in the shoulder plates across the group depending on specialties, the armor of this particular Clone Commando group is elite. Differences in the armor varies quite a fair amount. For example, Crosshair has an armbar for sniper stabilization, while Wrecker has smaller shoulder plates to allow for greater and unobscured range of motion. Originally, there were only 4 experimental clones in this group, later joined by Echo. Their atypical genetics made them distinct from standard clones. The members of the squad included Hunter, the squad sergeant, Wrecker, Tech, and Crosshair, with Echo later joining the squad. Some notable missions that this squad embarked on were the Anaxis campaign and a mission to Color to repel a separatist attack advancing toward a youngling Caleb Doom and his master Depa Billaba. This squad is notable for unconventional warfare, sabotage, and adaptability. Delta Squad. This squad's specialty relies on tactical precision, sabotage, infiltration, hostage rescue, and wet work. If a mission needed to be done right the first time, Delta Squad got the call. The armor that this squad used was, again, just standard white Katarn class armor with individualized color accents: orange, green, red, and yellow depending on the member of the squad. This squad was handpicked from Kamino's finest soldiers: RC 1138, Boss, RC 1140, Fixer, RC 1207, Sev, and RC 1262, Scorch. Some notable missions that this squad engaged in was the initial Geonosis assault, as well as Kashyyyk campaigns, where unfortunately one of their squad members, Sev, was left behind. This squad is most notable for deadly efficiency and extraction operations. Omega Squad. The specialty of this squad relied on urban warfare, sabotage, infiltration in dense environments, and stealth-based night ops. The armor that this squad used depended on the circumstances. They operated in matte black Katarn armor for night operations with variations in visor color. They also wore blank white armor with color variations for individuals, such as blue, using minimal marking to reduce visibility. The majority of this squad was comprised of survivors from destroyed squads. It included RC 1309, Niner, RC 8015, Phi, RC 3222, Atin, RC 5108 or 8843, Core, and RC 1136, Darman. Notable missions underwent by this squad include counter-terror operations on Coruscant, as well as covert Jedi support. This squad is notable for being a psychologically complex clone team, favored for their emotional depth and brutal missions, handling delicate situations better than most. Hope Squad. This little-known squad had its specialty in high-orbit precision entry, orbital drops directly into battle zones using drop pods or other equipment. In fact, HOPE is just an acronym for high-orbit precision entry. The armor used by this squad was standard Katarn armor, likely reinforced for extreme entry conditions. There is unfortunately no explanation available, but this is assumed to be standard considering their specialization. Their white Katarn armor was customized with individualized colors, including orange, yellow, blue, and green. The specific members of this squad are unfortunately unknown. but they were all trained extensively and exclusively for orbital combat insertions. Unfortunately, there are also no notable missions detailed in canon or legends, but this squad is implied to have executed high-risk planetary assaults. This squad is notable for extreme risk orbital deployment, being specialists in insertion techniques under fire. Foxtrot Group. A more well-known organization of clone commandos, this group had its specialty in tactical support and demolitions. Gregor, the most well-known member, was highly trained in explosives and small unit tactics. The armor this squad used was standard Katarn armor with yellow and orange highlights and camouflage. Gregor's armor was heavily battle-worn, but still held all of these small details. Little is known about the composition of this squad besides Gregor, CC 557639, but the squad itself served as the detachment for the 212th Attack Battalion. Following from other commando detachments in the Republic, we can assume that this squad consisted of 4 to 5 members, including their leading officer, which, given Gregor's rank as a sergeant, was likely him. The most notable mission of this squad was the Battle of Serish, where all were presumed KIA. This was later debunked when Gregor was rescued by Colonel Meber Gascon on Abafar, reappearing in Rebels and in the Bad Batch. This squad was most notable for the survival and re-emergence of Gregor. Unfortunately, not much is otherwise known for their specialty in combat, but they are known for support roles rather than frontline spearheading. Theta Squad. There isn't much known about Theta Squad, but we know that their specialty is in infiltration and recovery operations. They used standard white Katarn class armor, but they didn't have much of a chance for customization before the squad was entirely eliminated, with the exception of one member, Darman. This squad was formed by members Taller, Vin, Jay, and Darman. Their failed mission prompted the deployment of Delta Squad to Geonosis, the sole surviving member of that mission being transferred to Omega Squad thereafter. Unfortunately, the only notable mission for this squad was their first and only mission, where the entire squad was killed in the early stages of the first battle of Geonosis. Their squad is unfortunately most notable for their failure, catalyzing the formation of Omega Squad and the deployment of Delta Squad to Geonosis, an incredibly rare example of Clone Commandos dying en masse. Yayak Squad. This squad specialized in covert security and high-value asset protection, assigned specifically to protect high-ranking Republic officials and facilities. They operated in close coordination with Republic intelligence. The armor of Yayak Squad was a standard Katarn-class commando armor set. Specific color schemes aren't necessarily described in source material, but it's mostly presumed to be subdued for low-profile assignments, usually depicted in camo or forested colors such as green or brown. Members of this squad included Cov, Dev, Jind, and Yover. Their RC numbers are unknown. This squad was tasked with the protection of Republic facilities and dignitaries on Coruscant. They are known to have operated under direct orders from the Republic Security Organization, and their assignments were often off the books. This squad was mostly notable for being one of the few squads not focused on frontline combat. Yayak Squad was renowned for their loyalty and discretion. Trusted with high-level targets, they operated in the shadows of the Republic's bureaucratic heart, protecting key infrastructure from sabotage and espionage. Iowa Squad. The specialty of this squad was naval boarding and underwater operations. Iowa Squad was trained for combat in aquatic or partially submerged environments. The armor that this squad utilized was modified Katarn armor equipped with rebreathers and fins for enhanced mobility in water. Notable missions of this squad were likely deployed on Kamino or in Mon Cala. Specific details on this squad's missions are sparse. Members of this squad include RC-1013, Sarge, RC-2088, Zag, and 2 other unnamed members. This squad is most notable for their specialization in marine environments, making them ideal for environments where most clones would be hindered. Ion Team. The specialty of this squad was more in regards to shock tactics and direct engagement. The armor of this squad was reinforced Katarn armor with ion-based weaponry. Notable missions of this squad were only briefly mentioned in Legends, possibly attached to planetary invasions. This squad was comprised of Captain Climber, Trace, RAS, and one other unknown munitions expert. All RC numbers are unknown. This squad is most notable for using brute force and momentum to break down enemy lines. Now, full disclosure here, the remaining squads mentioned have very sparse material on them and are mostly only mentioned in passing, so some details are expanded on using the information available. Oryx Squad. The specialty of this squad was more with regards to heavy assault and battlefield clearance. The armor that this squad used was your standard Katarn class armor with bright red tactical markings. This squad was mostly known to have fought on Megiddo and other CIS held worlds, with no notable missions. Members of this squad include Captain Husk. All other members of his company are unknown. This squad is most notable for leading full frontal engagements where sheer firepower was essential. Aquila Squad. The specialty of this squad was reconnaissance and likely long-range scouting behind enemy lines. The armor that this squad utilized was camouflaged Katarn armor with sensor dampening gear. Notable missions included the surveillance ahead of Republic troop movements on many different worlds, as well as being deployed with both Omega and Manka squads to restore order to Coruscant after a separatist attack. Members of this squad are unknown, and this squad is most notable for rarely engaging in direct combat. Atin's Squad. The specialty of this squad is unfortunately unknown, where the armor was again just standard issue Katarn armor. Unfortunately, the only notable mission of this squad was their last and only mission, where all members were lost on a failed insertion where only Atin survived, being transferred to Omega Squad thereafter. The only members mentioned of this squad were Atin. Unfortunately, this squad is most notable for the trauma and survivor's guilt deeply shaping Atin's character within Omega Squad. Teroch Squad. Just like Theta Squad, this squad's specialty is presumed to be infiltration and recovery, their armor also being standard white Katarn class armor without much of a chance for customization. This squad was unfortunately entirely wiped out during the early stages of the First Battle of Geonosis, where their only member, RC-8015 or Phi, was the only survivor. Nothing else is known about the composition of this squad, as the only surviving member was the only named member of the squad. Niners Squad. Unfortunately, not much else is known about this squad either, other than it met the same fate as Teroch Squad and Theta Squad, dying in the First Battle of Geonosis. The only remaining member of this squad that did not perish at that battle was the squad's leader, Niner, who then became the squad leader of Omega Squad. Gamma Squad. This squad was only referenced, known from a mention in Republic Commando 000. Their specialty is unspecified, but they likely dealt in infiltration and sabotage like many other commando units. Manka Squad. The specialty of this squad was for close quarters combat and breaching. The armor used was custom Katarn armor with shock-resistant plating. This squad was used in shipboarding operations and urban raids. They aided in the maintenance and security after a separatist raid on Coruscant along with Aquila and Omega squads. This squad is most notable for aggressive tactics in confined or enclosed environments. Nast Squad. The specialty of this squad is unfortunately unknown, but most likely a Black Ops group given the Mando translation of Nast, being enemy. The armor of this squad was also likely a basic white Katarn class armor set. There are no notable missions, and there is nothing specifically notable about this squad. Orar Squad. The specialty of this squad is also unknown, but possibly heavy assault or demolitions given the Mando translation of Orar, thunder. The armor for this group was likely reinforced Katarn armor with missile pods and heavy explosive packs to deal with more demolition-based combat. There are unfortunately no notable missions, and there is nothing specifically notable about this squad. Veshok Squad. The specialty for this squad is also unknown, but likely used in jungle warfare and terrain-based guerrilla factions, given the naming conventions after Mandalorian wood. The armor used by this squad was your basic Katarn class armor, possibly painted leaf green with sound dampening attachments. There are unfortunately no notable missions and no notes for this squad. Vevat Squad. For anybody who's familiar with the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, I think Vevet Squad can mostly relate to the entry of the Night Fury to the Book of Dragons.
Speed unknown. Size unknown. The unholy offspring of lightning and death itself.
As there is no specialty known, no armor known other than likely being your standard Katarn armor class kit. There are no notable missions, only one known member, deck, and there is nothing specifically notable about this squad. Clone Commandos weren't just soldiers, they were specialists, brothers, and in many ways, weapons sharpened beyond regulation. From Delta Squad's surgical strikes to Omega's Shadow Wars and the Bad Batch's Rogue Rebellion, each squad left their mark on the galaxy, showing key elements of individuality and camaraderie where other clone detachments tended to fall short. Which squad was your favorite? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Star Wars deep dives. May the Force be with you.